Hello and welcome to the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from Northwest Community Television. Thanks for joining us once again for an update of what's new in Maple Grove. Joining us, Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
We have a meeting from November 4th to talk about, just over an hour and a half in length. If you like master planning, this is the place to be. We're going to talk about that through the process and where it is right now. But first, let's get to the council meeting itself. Started out by Troop 532. Yes. Tell us about not only the special time at the council meeting, but before the council meeting.
Yeah, so quite often we'll get a Cub Scout group that is working on things on their, in the area of government, and so they'll call and make a request to come in and visit with us. So this troop came in, they did a tour of the government center, spent some time in the police department, and then they came in and had the opportunity to visit with Mayor Stephenson prior to the meeting, and then they had asked if they could help with the pledge. So they posted the flags and did the Pledge of Allegiance for us. So quite a big group of kids, probably almost like 20 Cub Scouts, and their parents were present. So we always enjoy having the troop in for the evening to do those kinds of activities.
Big thank you to the Scouts for helping out. No items pulled off the consent agenda, but moving on to some of the special business. Age-friendly Maple Grove annual report. We've talked about this a few times. Give us a little recap of what this program is and tell us about the report.
Yeah, so we're into year 3 of our work on the Age-friendly Maple Grove initiative. So we joined that organization back in 2016, and so I've been working on a community engagement process and then put together a work plan, and now the committee is really through their first year of their action plan, working on that work plan. So they came in to provide a report to the council. They're really focused on several different areas of kind of those the areas that are outlined by ARP and the WHO, the World Health Organization.
Okay.
So communications, outdoor spaces and buildings, housing, transportation, community support and health services, social and civic participation. So they've got different activities associated under each of those areas that they're working on. They do have a website that they've put up in the last few months here, agefriendlymaplegrove.org. Wonderful place for all resources for seniors in the community, and so all the information about the Age-Friendly Initiative is really kind of cataloged there. So for seniors, if you're looking for services or some assistance or just information about aging well in Maple Grove, that website's a really great resource.
Excellent. So look there to find out more information. Again, some staff through the community center working on that project, but some very invested and passionate volunteers as well from the community that were part of the report as well.
Yeah, so this is really kind of a community-led initiative, certainly supported by the city, and our staff helps support it, and the city does provide some funding to the initiative. There's other community partners that are involved, but it's really those community members that are leading this that make it a really great program.
All right, let's hop to community development. Some items coming up here that are being looked at. One is Howell Meadows. This is 10 lots. Tell us where and what this might be.
Yeah, so this is in the southwest area of the city, just near Gleason Fields Park there. So this is for their development stage plan, rezoning and their platting, so kind of their final phase of coming through the council. So this is a 10-lot subdivision, single family, kind of one of those infill areas down there in the southwest area. This one's being done by Donne Homes, so this got its final approvals.
All right, next item was 13380 Grove Drive, a place people might have seen in the past as a daycare. Is going to be changing into something new, a little redevelopment happening. What's this project?
Yeah, we're right at the corner there of Weaver Lake Road and Elm Creek Boulevard, just south of Highland Bank. There's a former daycare site that's been closed for a number of years, and so that site was acquired. They're going to be demoing that existing building and building a new Chase Manhattan Bank there on that that site that in the middle of Highland there, so or just to the south of Highland Bank. So we'll look to see some activity on that one. I think maybe even yet this year they'll probably get out and do some demo work.
All right, watch for that action coming up. As I mentioned at the beginning of the program, if you like master planning, this is the place to be today. Let's talk about the two that have been moving through the process, and it's fun to watch the process now because now you can really see it start to take shape. Some images that show what it might look like. Let's start with the Northwest 610 master planning area. Who is the group the city's been working with, and what was the research they found?
Yeah, so we worked with WSB was our consultant on this, and so the approach that we really take is to go out and meet with all the stakeholders, the landowners, people, up in the Northwest 610 area. Certainly the Hindu temple is a stakeholder in that area. So we spend a good amount of time meeting with those folks and understanding what their concerns are, what their plans are, maybe what their timing is in terms of whether they're interested in transacting their land or not. And so that formulates really kind of the basis of the planning. Through the master planning work, this comes on the back end of the comprehensive planning process. So not really much changes about the land use. It's really about kind of settling in on where the roads might go, how the land might develop, some timing of that development, utility extensions, how the park assets would be configured in there. Up in this Northwest area, the school has a significant ISD 279, Osseo area schools has a significant land holding for a new elementary school up there at some point, and so a lot of discussion with them about their timing and how the roads need to be situated and pedestrian access in and around their site. A lot of work up here also with Three Rivers Park District. We have the Rush Creek Trail corridor that would run through this area, comes from the other side of 94. So we coordinated kind of where that trail corridor would go and work through all those kinds of issues. So really great deck of work here, and really glad to have this work behind us. We do see some development interest up in this area. Likely we'll see some things come forward over the winter months, potentially get moving in the spring. So it's good to have kind of this foundation set and have done some thought about how that transportation system will work out there and how we could accommodate development both in the near term and then in the long term. So information available on our website about with all of these master plans if people want to go take a look.
So if that area isn't enough to keep the city busy, let's move over to the gravel mining area, the south gravel mining area. Again, give us kind of the picture of what this area is and what was the discussion in that master planning. Yeah,
so this is the area really east of the fountains up to 169, south of Elm Creek, but then also just kind of an area just north of Elm Creek, kind of an area just a buffer area, I guess, if you will, of development, and then what would remain in the gravel mining for many years to come. So it's home to the first phase of the Arbor Lakes Business Park there, that the Illume project and the building just to the south. So a lot of focus in this area on workforce development, job growth, really focusing on office and industry, but also allowing for a mix of uses. For instance, we have an interested hotel developer right now that we're dealing with, but also additional office and flex type use interest going on out there as well. We did carve out kind of at that corner of 169 Elm Creek, we call it kind of the dream space. I think we always want to make sure that even though a lot of corporate campuses aren't being built today, we're always leaving room for that, and that we have a place for those if they should come along, and that we could accommodate those types of uses in the community. So that kind of 169 Elm Creek area, but clearly, the other areas are pretty big tracts of land, so pretty flexible in terms of, how they could get configured and what types of uses could go there. As you get closer to the 94 corridor, our goal would be to have more height to those buildings for that highway presence, and then that height would go, down as you get closer to Elm Creek Boulevard. So kind of a mix of uses, some pedestrian connections, natural amenity with the stormwater, created, recognizing that there could be a lot of people that work over in this area, so having kind of those pedestrian connections, trails, some amenities created for the folks that are working over in that area. So again, this one's available on our website. Stakeholders in this area that we spent a lot of time with, certainly the Tiller Corporation, McCrossin Corporation, landholders out in that area. So we did spend a considerable amount of time kind of talking through what their plans are and their time frames. And so good to have this one there too, as developers come around, gives them some guidance of what the city and the landowners are looking for.
All right, so the city looking ahead in two very important areas, and again, information on the city's website if you want to find out more. Another item that was discussed in the council meeting on the 4th was the administrative citations, something we have followed for a little while, was tabled a while back, I believe, as well. Tell us about the next step in the process here and what this means for the city. Yeah,
so this is really adding a tool to the toolbox for code enforcement activities, and so this is really kind of in response to some nuisance properties or nuisance issues that we've struggled to get resolved. Heretofore, if we had an unresolved code enforcement issue, really our only remedy was the court system, and that's likely not the best way to try to resolve these issues.
Right.
So a number of communities around the metro area utilize an administrative citation process. So basically, much wouldn't change on the front end of the process. If there was a violation, you'd still get a letter and then a second letter. Now, if those issues go unresolved after that second notice, then there would be an administrative citation issued. Citation is for $50, and then there's kind of an appeal process associated with that as well. So we're hoping that that'll help us bring some of those unresolved issues into compliance. You know, I think the hearing process, if you wanted to appeal that, you'd be in front of the community development director initially, and then that would go on up to the city council. So, you know, and these are issues that I think become a real area of concern for the neighborhood.
Sure.
When you have a property that has unresolved code enforcement issues, whether it's property maintenance or, you know, things out in the yard that really aren't meant to be sitting around in a yard, they can really become a disruption for a neighborhood. And so we're hoping that this tool helps us deal with those unresolved issues.
And this also has a commercial aspect to it as well, so it's not just homeowners.
Correct.
It could be businesses
Yes.
as well that maybe
Yes.
are falling short on some areas.
Yeah, and we've really tried to focus on some of our commercial areas with the landscape and building maintenance. You know, it seems like, you know, as soon as those issues start to fall off, you can really start to have some problems. So
Sure.
been working with some of our commercial properties too to make sure they're paying attention to those issues.
All right, very good.
Yep.
So a conclusion to that process now in place. Next item was report on upcoming community development items that are coming up, and there are groundbreakings and openings happening all the time. Give us a list of what's been happening here lately. We've got some hotels, AT&T as well.
Yes, yeah. So we had the Havenwood groundbreaking last week. That is the project out at 101 Bass Lake Road. That senior housing project out there. So kind of a cool day
Yes.
for that activity. I think Joe and Councilmember Jagger froze a bit out there, but they got that done.
Good.
We've got a new AT&T store opening up over at the Village at Arbor Lakes. The Residence Inn Spring Hill Suites, that also at the Village Arbor Lakes. Those hotels are now open. They're going to be doing kind of a reception tours type event
Very
on the
nice.
14th. And then the Shops at Arbor Lakes, their new streetscape project is, they're going to be doing kind of a ribbon cutting grand opening over there on the evening of the 14th as well. I know you guys did a news story about that over there.
Yep.
Looks really sharp. And then we have the Arbor Lakes Corporate Center. Of course, this is the old Osseo dump site that is now no longer a dump site. It
Yay.
has been fully cleaned up.
Right.
If you drive by there, the site is back to grade. They're actually getting going on the construction. They wanted
Very
to get
good.
up this winter, so this is kind of a ceremonial groundbreaking to thank all the funding partners that
Excellent.
came to the table to this one. So
Very good.
lots of fun business things going on in town.
Then also, you mentioned earlier Arbor Lakes Business Park, and it looks like there's continued interest
Yeah.
there. This is the Illume area for people that, again, know along Elm Creek Boulevard, but
Yeah.
more interest there.
Yeah, so the building to the south, Duke built that building on spec, but they've now signed 3 leases in that building.
Very
So
good.
they've got that building about 2/3 leased up, and we'll have some announcements about who those businesses are in the coming weeks.
Very good. And coming up as well out of community development, annual event renewals for rental licenses. So something, again, we might talk about the next time. Let's move over to Public Works and Engineering. Ken Ashfield had a chance to give a few updates, and one was on Territorial Road.
Yes.
Again, some data is being gathered. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this was in response, of course, to the closure that occurred earlier this year. And so one of the requests of the council was to do a bit more study on what's going on out there on that road for traffic. And so we're going to be bringing back that information on November 18th to the city council meeting. And of course, you know, the council now, given the changes in the state statute, has the opportunity to lower that speed limit if that's something they'd
Okay.
want to look at to help with speed and volume concerns on that roadway. So look for more on that on November 18th.
And the final item from Ken was talk about batteries. So
Yes.
things have changed a little in the world of where I can put batteries when they're used.
Yes.
What can I do?
Yeah, so battery recycling, there has previously been a kind of a box or receptacle at most government facilities that Hennepin County would come pick up.
Right.
I think they've had some issues with some, you know, fire risk in those areas, so they've removed those collection boxes out of those facilities. A couple options still remain for you. The Hennepin County facility up in Brooklyn Park, that's an option for you to
Right.
take things to recycling up there. But also if it's just a standard battery, you know, a regular AAA, AA battery, those can be just disposed of in the garbage. So check our website, check
Good.
the Hennepin County website for more information. But if you're coming to City Hall to get rid of batteries, know that that process has changed.
Very good. All right. And last couple items from the meeting on the 4th, you had a few notes to mention, and we've talked about this many times, the state bonding proposals.
Yes.
Where are we in this process now? The session is a little ways away,
Yep.
and you're already at work.
Yeah, so here in November, we have the opportunity to present to the Office of Management and Budget. This is really kind of the commissioner level presentation to help inform the governor's office about what the governor's bonding bill proposal might look like. And so we will be presenting early in November about the Trunk Highway 610 completion project, and then later in November for the North Metro Range expansion project. So we're looking forward to that process. And February 11th, the session starts, so I think they're trying to get all this work in here, before the end of the year in preparation for that start.
Very good. So you're keeping Maple Grove at the top of their mind.
We're trying to.
One other item that might be coming up is a work session related to the Ryan companies, and this is Project 100. Give us a little reminder of what that project is.
Yeah, so this is the land due west of the hospital, north of Maple Grove Parkway, up to 610.
Okay.
East of 94, there's about 100 acres back there behind the hospital. So Ryan Companies is working on a development proposal for that. They intend to come in probably in December with their concept plan. And so we had a work session with them a while ago with the council just to kind of talk about their vision for the property. They've worked on refining that. Number of things are moving forward on this, and AUAR, which is really kind of the environmental assessment, impact assessment for this project. We're working on a feasibility study for the completion of Grove Circle, that ring road that'll come around the backside of the hospital. That would get constructed to make that connection complete. So coming back on November 18th, this is tentative yet. We've got some hope, we're working on what that concept plan looks like, but an opportunity for them to visit with the council again before this comes forward for a formal submittal in December. Big project, 100 acres. We haven't seen a project, of that magnitude, that size of a project for some time. So this is a big deal and a really important piece. It'll be a mix of uses, medical office, some housing up there, again, that dream space up on 94, 610 corridor back in that pocket, really, hoping for some more, vertical office type uses, but some flexibility there too to recognize the marketplace. So more to come on that one, but that's a project we'll be talking a lot about over the winter.
Very good. We'll keep you up to date on that. So that's a wrap on the meeting from the 4th. Now to some other things happening in the city of Maple Grove. We have a holiday coming up for the Government Center. Tell us about when you'll be closed.
Yeah, so city offices will be closed Monday, November 11th in observation of the Veterans Day holiday. And then the Osseo Maple Grove American Legion and Beyond the Yellow Ribbon of Maple Grove will be hosting a Veterans Memorial at Central Park. That's at the new Veterans Memorial there, kind of in the southwest corner, and that's at 1 p.m. and there'll be a brief ceremony to honor service members.
Very good. Hope you can get out and enjoy that event. You have a new employee. We mentioned this a little bit in a previous program, but now it is official.
Yes. So Brett Angel will be joining our team the middle of November here as our new economic development manager. He's been most recently serving with the City of Brooklyn Center, but also interned for the City of Osseo earlier in his career, so certainly has some familiarity with this area and Maple Grove.
All right, let's talk about this time of the year, some of the things that go on with the out of doors, and one is buckthorn. We tried to get rid of buckthorn.
We do.
What happened at Maple Grove to help that cause?
Yeah, so the Arbor Committee goes out every year and selects a section of forest preservation area for removing buckthorn. They were out from 9 a.m. to noon. So buckthorn can be very invasive in those forested areas and kind of choke out, the trees that you want to see grow and do well, that understory of trees. So it's good to get out and get those things cleaned out of there. So we really appreciate the efforts of the Arbor Committee to assist with that effort.
All right, on a little more tamer level, maybe for people at their homes, you've been probably picking up leaves and taking them to the yard waste site. What's the report on the site? How busy has it been, and how long is it open?
Yeah, I think Sunday had to have been a crazy day. Beautiful day to get out and clean up the yard. I know I was doing that. So the yard waste site is open through November 30th for disposal of leaves, brush, those things that you find in your yard. And so drop-off is free with a Maple Grove residency. Just bring your ID with. And then, of course, as a reminder, we do serve a number of other communities up here in Northwest Metro. So it is a busy site.
It is indeed. Let's hop around to some other departments within the city. One is the fire department. We talk about some of the training that happens for fighting fires, but this is interesting.
Yes.
This is investigation training. Tell us about that event.
Yeah, so they had an opportunity to utilize a donated house out in Corcoran. Sometimes we'll get that opportunity.
Right.
Seems less frequent, nowadays, but once in a while we come across a house that either can be torn down or, and it's an opportunity either for a live burn or some sort of training. So multiple rooms were used to simulate different kinds of fires and ignition sources. So there was some, fire conducted in the house.
Sure.
Over 20 firefighters from Maple Grove and then the Hennepin County Fire Investigation Team were on site to kind of do this practice with actual burn patterns and fires. So it is really difficult to obtain these types of structures to do this training. So we were grateful for this opportunity out in Corcoran to make that happen.
Very, very nice.
Yep.
A couple signs of the winter season coming upon us. One is Winter Hazard Awareness Week. When is this and what should people learn about?
Yeah, so November 4th through the 8th, so we're right in the middle of it right now. This is a collaboration between the Minnesota Department of Public Safety and the Homeland Security and Emergency Management and the National Weather Service. And so features daily topics related to winter weather safety, ice storms, blizzards, those are all common.
Those good things.
Snowmobile safety, fire safety, carbon monoxide, auto safety, those kinds of things. So details can be found on the Homeland Security and Emergency Management website.
Very good. One group in the city of Maple Grove that doesn't care about the weather now is the farmers market because they said, let's go inside.
Yes.
Is it happening?
It is this week. Thursday, November 7th. We have over 20 vendors signed up for that day.
Great.
There's still apples available, so come on out for that day. And of course, all the locally raised meat and poultry, pickles, preserves, wild rice, baked goods, all those kinds of fun things. And then just as a reminder, as we get later into November, the farmers market will move to the Tuesday right before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So lots of goodies for your Thanksgiving festivities at that market.
A couple more dates to put on your calendar. One is Saturday, November 9th. This is a neat event that happens if you need to do some holiday shopping. Who's behind this event and what is it?
Yeah, so Saturday, November 9th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Maple Grove Community Center. This one's hosted by the Maple Grove Lions, and it's a holiday boutique craft sale.
All right, chance to do a little shopping there. Let's talk about the Sports Dome. A lot of people waiting for this time.
Yeah.
It is up, it is ready to go, and some
Yes.
good news about maybe some times that it can be used. Give us a
Yeah.
little insight on that great facility.
Yeah, so over the summer months, we've been working with the school district to amend our agreement, our usage agreement up there. Previously, during the school day, the members of the public residents weren't allowed in the dome because of school activities.
Right.
We were able to work out an agreement that allows our residents to go in there and walk in the mornings. If you've ever been in there, there's a nice walking path around. You can make a nice oval around there. So that'll be open for walking between 7:30 and 9:30 in the morning. Information's available on our website. So
Great.
for folks that have opportunities to get out in the morning and do that kind of thing, and now that the winter weather has come about, or the colder weather has come about, it's a nice space. About 55 degrees in there or so,
Yep.
so it's a nice space to get out and walk.
Yep, perfect with a light coat on, you're ready to go. Also
Yep.
perfect for some events, so not only used for the walking and for some teams from the school and the community, but also events on occasion, and one is coming up Wednesday, November 20th. This is called the Pop-Up event. What is it?
Yeah, so PopUp Rec, Wednesday, November 20th, 6 to 8 p.m. They'll have all kinds of games inside the dome, Nerf blasters, mini golf, bean bags, much more. There's no fee, but we do ask that people register online, so we have a number and a waiver for participation.
Okay.
Maple Grove Parks and Recreation Facebook page, there's a lot of details there as well.
Yeah, fun
Yep.
event, so get out and enjoy that. Couple other items related to the community center and Park and Rec. You're looking for some employees to fill
Yes.
some seasonal needs, some outside, some inside.
Yeah, so we're looking for warming house attendants, of course, lifeguards. We're always looking for lifeguards, so there's always opportunities for employment with Maple Grove Parks and Rec, and all that information is available on our Maple Grove website under the employment area.
All right, and also
Yep.
on that website, you'll find out about the big sale that happens annually for the community center, and time's running out.
Yeah, so we have the Maple Grove Community Center membership sale goes through November 10th, so that's coming
Okay,
up here
pretty
pretty
quick.
quick as we're visiting today. It's a 15% discount on the regular rates for youth, senior, adult, and family. And then just as a reminder, there's kind of different options for levels of membership. You can do an all building, a pool only, and a pickleball only. So all the information and detail is available on our website website as well.
Very good. Great place to spend some time during the winter season. Heidi, thank you very much for your time and
You're
for all
welcome.
the information. Let's leave you with that next council meeting date. It'll be in 2 weeks from the last one, which will be on Monday, November 18th, 7:30 at the Government Center. Phone number at the bottom of the screen. We mentioned the website many times during the show today, so go to maplegrovemn.gov to find out about some of the things happening in the city right now and some of the things that are coming up. Viewer response line 533-1710. Questions or comments about the program, we would love to hear them. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report.